Good morning, y'all. Thank you for joining us for our beef brunch news update for Tuesday, September 5th. I hope I got that date right. It's been, what is it they say, the Monday-est Tuesday ever? I feel like that's how it always happens when we come back from a long weekend. So we're actually recording this the same day that we're getting it out to y'all. So it's bright and early on Tuesday morning. Vince is on the road, so you can't see him, but we're going to go ahead and turn it over to him for his update.
Thank you, Ashley. It's always a pleasure to give these updates. We've had somewhat of a change in weather in the central and southern part of the state with rain showers yesterday and the day before. So that's been a blessing in a sense. But we're a long ways from anything greening up because we're so dry and so drought stricken from the 100+ degree temperatures for so long. We're challenged with that. So producers are still scrambling for whatever hay they can find. There's a lot of rice straw has been baled here in the central part of the state. Even some soybeans that still had foliage left on them has been a go-to. And I know Dr. Twidwell put out some information on that. And there are some concerns about feeding drought-stricken soybeans, and producers certainly need to heed those cautions and not feed them full free choice. They should be absolutely fed along with some grass hay and only maybe as a supplement. But certainly to have them tested for nitrates and maybe some TDN, and just to kind of gauge on how to utilize them as a possible supplement. So with that being said, a lot of cattle still making their way to the sale barn because of the drought-stressed pastures. It's unfortunate. Prices have still been good, and I'm sure Lee will cover that, or actually will to a certain degree, but still some favoritism in the market for calves and for non-cows that are making their way to the barn. A lot of people are working their cattle and palpating and sending cattle that are not in production or bred any certain stage bred. They're just sending them on down the road. So our cow herd is depleting to some degree here locally, and it's going to be an interesting ride as we have a season change hopefully soon. Even cooler temperatures will make people feel a little bit better about being in any aspect of the ag industry. It's just been so hot, and people are out doing what they need to do, but we definitely need a break from the situation that we faced all summer with better temperatures and cool weather for sure. So with that being said, horn flies are an issue right now. Continue to monitor for horn fly populations, especially on bulls. Keeping bulls at nearby where you can see them every day, and when we start to get a little rain and some puddling or down in canals or low areas, a lot of ponds are dried up. There's still a risk of bogging as we start to get some rains. So just be mindful of your bulls, your herd bulls, an expensive component of moving forward with a calf crop. Those bulls that are lame or hadn't done justice to your herd, it's time to part with them. Prices are still good there as well. So with that being said, the big anticipation for better weather conditions, hopefully fall-like temperatures come into play pretty soon. Nothing evident on the extended forecast at this point, but hopefully there are some rain showers in the forecast today, going back up to triple digits for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but another rain chance on Saturday with possible front coming through that might give some rain chances. So that's about all I have at this point, Ashley.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we had some of those rains yesterday as well in the northern part of the state. I know at least Union Parish and Ouachita Parish had some because I was driving through it for a little while. Lee, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you for your update.
Thank you, Ashley. Glad to be with you all here this morning. I hope you had a good Labor Day. I know in the ag world and the cattle community in particular, Labor Day is just another day, and a lot of laboring going on that day. And so, but I do hope that you were able to enjoy just a little bit of time with your family, maybe over this long weekend. As Vince stated, there's been some intermittent rainfall across northern Louisiana, northwest Louisiana over the last several days. The biggest swath of it came yesterday. That would have been on Labor Day, Monday, the 4th. Um, and so I'm not going to say that everybody was able to realize some rainfall, because speaking personally, we haven't gotten much at my place. But what is encouraging about this is what Vince just alluded to, and that's, it seems like a weather pattern change almost. I know that we've got some hot temperatures staring us down this week. I think we're going to, fingers crossed, stay under the century mark in northern Louisiana over the next couple of days, but it's still going to be hot. Some heat advisories going out this morning, I saw on the local weather. So we've got a little bit more, but it's encouraging to see these rain chances pop up. And of course, these rains fall. It's widely varying as far as amounts. One producer that I know of in Jackson Parish hasn't got anything over the course of the last few days, while others have been blessed with, half an inch to an inch of rain in some cases. We need a lot more to alleviate these concerns, and we've just been so dry and so hot for so many days and weeks, and you could argue months, that it's going to take substantial rainfall to change things. The other thing is, and this has been in the back of everybody's mind, we're fighting a battle with time too, folks. If you keep track of daylight hours and such, you can notice that these days are getting shorter. We're losing daylight hours. We know what happens to these warm season forages. As we lose daylight hours, we start losing some productivity, especially in Bahia grass, which is the basis of a lot of our summer pastures. And we also run the risk that this time of year starting to get into some cooler nighttime temperatures. I know that's not really a concern this week, but possibly by the next time we record these news updates, we'll be talking about some lower nighttime temperatures, and that really can affect this warm season grass and forage production as well. Um, Pasture conditions, really don't know what can be said other than abysmal. There is some standing forage left. I talked to producers all around the region that have a little grass left. It may have a slight green tint to it, but we're definitely not seeing anything growing right now, so to speak. The folks that have gotten some rain, they may see a little bit of a greener tint, but just haven't got enough to see a lot of growth on forages. There's a lot of folks that are feeding hay right now, and boy, that just adds insult to injury. It's one thing to be short on hay but have some grass in your pastures. It's another thing to be short on hay and be using that valuable hay right now just to weather the storm, so to speak. And so that'll lead right into the markets talk. In northern Louisiana, northwest Louisiana, the exodus of cattle from farms continues, folks. Um, I've got a figure that I may share next news update. I've got to get approval from the gentleman that collected this tidbit to share. But it's telling as far as how many cows we've seen leave operations in northern Louisiana. These sale barns continue to run 400 and 500 head of either cull cows or some bred cows that are just droughted out, so to speak. The calves are continue to be shed. Weaning weights continue to be light. Um, it's just it's a tough situation. I was very pessimistic last time we recorded this news update. I'm not as pessimistic right now, but it's still we've got a long way to go to see some improvement. There's very little cows being worked. There's some, but very little. The temperatures have moderated, and that allowed a few head to be worked across the region. Folks still waiting on some cooler temperatures. Those with a little bit of standing forage are just kind of holding on before they get into some major weaning. But these sale barn receipts just shine light on how many people are out of grass and are trying to get some cattle moved. And I think that trend will continue on for another several weeks. Frankly, I'm stunned that we still have cull cows left to send, but we're still seeing them, folks. And the numbers that we're seeing at these sale barns, if we were in Central Texas or Northern Texas or Oklahoma, you would say, well, there's a lot of cattle in the country. That's where they're coming from. Um, and it would be understandable. It's harder in our part of the world where, while there's a lot of cattle in our part of the country, it's not like those areas I just mentioned. They're coming from somewhere, and there's a lot of them. I'll say that. So with the markets, I've got our market update as far as the week of August the 28th through September the 1st. Remember, these are self-reported prices. These prices are published by the sale barns. A lot of them do not publish quality, and that can greatly influence these markets as far as these averages. But I try to give this information just to give you a sense of where we're at. So in that time period I mentioned, on 5 to 6 weight steers, 500, 600 pound steers, the average of prices was $1.52 to $2.41 per pound. 5 to 6 weight heifers, $1.45 to $2.26. Cull cows, 80 cents to $1.14. Cull bulls, 90 cents to $1.28. Bred cows, the average of the highs was $1,612.50. Pairs ranged from $743.75 all the way to $1,781.25. Newest feature that I've done it a couple of times on these news updates already is I go back and look at 2 weeks ago, where we're at from the market, and I see what kind of percent increase or decrease we realize on these prices. And so I'll report that now. On the 5 to 6 weight steers, this past week's market was 3.14% higher than the period 2 weeks ago. 5 to 6 weight heifers was 3.34% higher. Cull cows saw a decrease of 3.96, and I don't have any way to explain that away other than the fact that the sheer numbers may be overwhelming some of these killing cow plants, so to speak, and it driving these prices just a little bit lower. But on cull bulls, we saw a 5.8% increase. So there may be an explanation of that, but I haven't been able to read the tea leaves close enough to see it. I will say, folks, this average of 80 cents to $1.14 on these killing cows, folks, that's still extremely high. You don't have to reach back very far in the past to get down into some 50 and 60 cent cattle. And those were good cattle, and at the time we thought we were doing good to get that. So historically, these prices are still high, and that's maybe what's part of what's driving, aside from drought, what's driving these cattle to market right now. Want to briefly mention the hay contest, our state fair hay quality contest. The information was released last week. I know it's kind of may seem kind of foolish to even be talking about a hay contest when so many people have struggled, but it's something we hold annually, and we're going to keep it up this year as well, because we know that there are some producers that work really hard in putting up some good hay, and we seek to showcase that. So if you want more information on the hay contest, I think Ashley will link it on this news update. Deadline's going to be October 1 to get that in. It's a free contest to enter. All you have to do is of course pay for the samples to be analyzed through the LSU Ag Center Forage Lab. More information in the rules and regulations, or if you need anything else, you can reach out to any one of us and we'll be able to provide you with that. Finally, I'm going to wrap up with a hay related matter as well, and that's the risk of nitrate toxicity. But I also want to mention prussic acid. I can't forget about that. We've had an uptick in the interest of producers wanting to get some some hay tested for nitrate levels. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on here. I'd be more than happy to talk to you individually. But nitrate toxicity is a real concern with some forage varieties that we use, specifically Johnson grass, millet, sorghum Sudan, grasses such as that can experience high nitrate levels. It's a particular concern when you've been in a drought period and and we start getting some rains such as what we're realizing now. That new growth can be potentially high in nitrate levels, and that can really cause some problems, folks. I've seen cases of nitrate toxicity. One in particular, that one roll of hay fed to a large group of cows. It was unrolled, and it wound up killing 9 head. And I'm not trying to vilify Johnson grass, because look, I don't know about other portions of the state, but in corners of northern Louisiana, Johnson grass is our base forage for hay production in many operations. Not trying to scare you away from it, because I know a lot of folks that have been struggling to get hay are buying some Johnson grass hay. Um, the thing that I want to keep in mind is, if you're buying some Johnson grass hay, or if you're baling Johnson grass hay, or if you've got a hay field with a lot of Johnson grass and you're getting some growth and you think, oh, well, I want to turn some cattle out on it to try to get some good utilization out of that, proceed with caution. Contact your local extension agent, local county agent. One of us will give you the information needed to get that forage tested to make sure that there's not a problem with nitrate levels. When it rears its head, it is really ugly, folks, and it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. So just use caution moving forward. With that, Ashley, I think I've covered everything. I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, sir. Lee and Vince touched on a good bit of what I had, and so I'm just going to, I guess, summarize in saying that we have a lot of people that are reaching out to us wanting to know what else they can feed. If hay supplies are short, what else can we look at? And the easiest thing for y'all to do, honestly, is contact one of us, contact your local extension agent, see what commodities are close to y'all and what concerns, such as the ones that Lee and Vince have mentioned already. What concerns do you need to have when starting to actually utilize and feed some of those? So there are a lot of options out there. If you have questions, please, please, please reach out to us. I will also point out too, if you go to our YouTube channel, which is where most of y'all watch these news updates, but it's LSU Ag Center Livestock on YouTube. If you look under the playlist for beef brunch webinars, there's a handful of different webinars talking about preparing for the winter months, winter supplementation, cool season forages, preparing for those, utilizing those. So I could think of a handful off the top of my head. If I start listing all these things in the video and podcast description, you'll have a whole novel. So I'm not going to link all of them, but if you want to scroll through those, if you're looking for something specific, my contact information's in the video and podcast descriptions always. Reach out to me and we'll help you find those resources. As I mentioned earlier, it's been a crazy morning. So despite an early morning in the office, I don't have markets for y'all due to internet issues, but I am going to talk about a few events to wrap us up. So actually today, starting at 10:30, which might be kind of a short notice for y'all, but we're kicking off our cattle marketing webinar series for the Beef Brunch series. So today, September 5th at 10:30, Dr. Kurt Guidry is going to talk about the markets. So he's doing just kind of I'm calling it Understanding the Markets, where he talks about market fluctuations and trends that we'll see throughout the year, but he'll also talk about that 10-year cattle cycle as well. Next week, September 12th, Dr. Marcelo Vitovato and I are both coming in. Dr. Vitovato is going to talk about weaning methods and considerations for weaning. I'm going to touch a little bit on preconditioning. On September 19th, Mr. Tyler Bro is going to come in and do a webinar on buyer expectations. So kind of what they're looking for and some things that you can think about in terms of your management strategies to hopefully increase the quality and the value of your cattle. And then Lee is going to come in on September 26th. He's going to talk about market options that you have, particularly here within Louisiana. I know we get some Texas and Mississippi and Arkansas people listening to this as well. So I think those will all be relevant to everyone in surrounding states. But again, that'll be market options. And he's also going to go more in depth into adding value to calves. All of those again, so we're starting this Tuesday, so it's going to be September 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. All of them are live at 10:30 on our lsuagcenter.com/beef brunch website. If you want the flyer with the information on how you can call in and listen in, let me know. We do record those. I realize most of y'all cannot watch live, so we offer it live, but we also record it. Give me a week or so to get each one of those up, and I'll get those posted on the Beef Brunch website as well as on our YouTube channel. Moving into live in-person events, this coming Friday is going to be the deadline for registering for the Southeast Region Master Cattleman Program. We've been talking about that. It's going to be in the Tangipahoa Extension Office starting September 11th through November 13th. So that'll be on Monday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. Registration for Master Cattleman is $200. And we've got information. You can contact the Tangipahoa Extension Office, reach out to me for the registration form and flyer, and I can get all that to you. Next Thursday, September 14th, is going to be our Dean Lee Research Station and Extension Center's Beef and Forage Field Day. So again, that's Thursday, September 14th. We will start with the trade show at 2 p.m. We've got a handful or more of good vendors that are going to be there. Some of them are bringing equipment and other things for you to look at. I've got online registration. Please get your registration in. It's free, but I just need a head count for meals so we can get that done. So please, please, please get that in as soon as you can. That link is in the video and podcast descriptions. You can also send me an email or a text and just let me know how many people are coming with you. I just need a head count a number so that I can prep those meals. The following Thursday, so that's 3 weeks from now, the 21st, is going to be the Northeast Region Beef and Forage Field Day. We're going to be back at the Goldmine Plantation in Mangham. Again, I've got the link for registration there. Same thing, it's a free event. I think, let me look at the flyer. I think we're kicking off at, registration starts at 8:15. So again, Goldmine Plantation in Mangham. If you want more information for that, let me know. I can send you both of those flyers. I need to get those online on the website too. Free event, register so you can have lunch. We do not have official registration open yet, but we will have our Artificial Insemination School October 18th through the 20th at the Dean Lee Research Station and Extension Center. If you're interested in that and want the information as soon as it comes out, please send me an email so that we can put you on that list. I know we say this all the time for the AI class at Dean Lee as well as the one at the Hill Farm. We have a list of people that have been waiting to take that class. So please contact us if you're interested in it. It doesn't mean that you definitely have to take it. Just let us know so that we can get you the information first in case you are interested. Then the last event to talk about, I think, is going to be the Acadiana Fall Beef and Forage Field Day. That's going to be on October 21st. That's a Saturday. It's a morning event, and we will get more information to you coming up. I apologize. I'm going to step back for just a second. I should have mentioned the topics that we're going to talk about at each of those field days. So next Thursday at the Dean Lee Field Day, we're going to have discussions on cool season annual forages and planting methods for those. We have weaning methods and management, sprayer calibration, cattle marketing strategies, and insects and diseases in hay fields. So each of those will be talked about a little bit. I'm going to talk about one of our research projects that we have going on there. We'll introduce Dr. Vito Vato, who's our new researcher there as well. The cattle marketing strategies, we're planning a producer panel for that. So you'll be able to ask questions of your peers and kind of hear what they're doing to hopefully make operations more successful. Then the Northeast Field Day, again, September 21st. We will also have weaning methods and calf performance there. Dr. Vito Vato is going to come in and talk mineral nutrition for livestock productivity. We will have some outside sources coming in and talking about utilizing livestock risk protection insurance. And then Dr. Wink Allison is going to be discussing how to manage low hay inventory. So reach out to me if you need information on any of those, and I will get that to you. I'll have some of that listed on the podcast descriptions as well. Lee, do you have anything else to add? Is there anything that I forgot? All right. Thank y'all.